So the newspaper, The Observer, had started several of these verticals in politics and in technology, B2B. And so Elizabeth Spires, the editor at the time, asked me to start a visual art one. I had actually had something of a background in that because when I was hired at Louis Blend Media, it was actually in conjunction with starting artinfo.com, which is now quite established. But I had straddled print and digital before because I was staff writer for Art and Auction magazine and for Art Info. Nevertheless, I had my doubts about this because starting a whole new thing, under the Observer's banner was risky. Nevertheless, I hired a terrific sort of day-to-day editor of the site, Andrew Russeth, whom I'd worked with at Art Info, and the thing really took off. And what I can say about print and digital, I think this is fascinating, one could talk about it for hours, is that what amazes me is that what we do on Gallerist NY, which is really specialized. I mean, it is about visual art. We break news, but we also, it has a voice, it has a certain irreverence, it certainly has a writerly quality, what we do on it. It's read all over the world. And, someone was saying to me that they were in Basel, Switzerland during Art Basel, and they looked over at the next table and the person was reading Gallerist NY. Now that's remarkable because this is the website of essentially a local newspaper, a New York newspaper. We're not a New York newspaper in the sense that the New York Times is. We don't have bureaus all over the world. And yet, this Gallerist NY thing is relevant to people who are interested in the art world in Paris, in London, in Switzerland, and whatever, because what we do touches all those places, and we are accessible to all of those places because we're online. So the difference is exponential. And yet, what I think is so interesting is that the print product gives us a certain legitimacy. It's not a waste to have that print product. Even if only 10,000 people ever get that print product, it gives us credibility. And that's what I think is so interesting about all this stuff that's going on with print and digital. But, I mean, Gallerist NY has been way more successful than I thought it would be. So I guess that speaks to what you can do in these mediums. The people who have been honored in the past in the specific, the honor that I'm getting, this New Leadership Award, in particular, I would say Shamim Momin and Cecilia Almani, who received it in recent years. I guess I feel very honored to be included in that group of people because they're women that I think are really, making a difference, kind of making an impact in what they do that is, that's really felt in the art world. And when you think about exhibitions that they've done, I mean, you can remember them. You think about ways in which they kind of change the dialogue or the discourse, or however you want to put it. And so I think that's very exciting because just to go back to what we were talking about Gallerist NY, I think that's what Gallerist NY did, is that it made a difference. It changed the way people think about looking at at coverage of art, how they read about news. I hope that's what we've done. And so I feel like, I was thinking about this in preparation for accepting this award. I've been writing about art for a long time now, 15 years. Maybe that's not a long time, but it seems like it to me. But this is called a leadership award, and being the editor of this section and overseeing this website has really been a kind of lesson in what it means to lead a group of writers. And they're all terrific writers, and I couldn't do it without them. But it really is a specific kind of attitude or set of things that you have to cultivate in order to do that, in order to lead people. And I think that that's what those women were able to do. I think it's, in many ways, as we've been reading recently, this profile of Jill Abramson and the reactions to it, can be a vexed role for women to play because there's more scrutiny, or there's more, there can be more of a backlash when you act like a leader, because it can be described in certain ways that are derogatory, in ways that it wouldn't be if you were a man. I believe that. So in that sense, the idea of getting a leadership award is very gratifying, and then to get one from an organization that has given it to people I really admire, very meaningful to me. So. obviously women play a huge role in the present of the art world. And one thing that really shocked me is last month I went to the 50th anniversary of the ADAA, the Art Dealers Association of America. And they had a short film that they played. And in this film, Joan Washburn, who's an art dealer, a renowned art dealer, said that when this organization was founded 50 years ago, she said it was kind of a boys' club. She said there just weren't that many women art dealers. But if you think about it, the women art dealers who were around, at that time and before that time, Betty Parsons, really remarkable women. And even today, if you think about it, I write a lot about the art market, so I'm going to use some gallerists as my reference points, but top art galleries in the world: Marion Goodman, Barbara Gladstone, Andrea Rosen, run by women, and Paula Cooper, remarkable women who have, done and made these programs that are really, in many cases, museum quality programs, who are absolutely doing as interesting things as the men in their field. So, hopefully the future is even better than the present. But boy, I think the art world is pretty much maybe run by women. So I think that's a great thing.